I would like to say a few words as introduction. In the last period of time, the most businessmen, politicians, and decision makers were saying that the post-crisis world is going to present a different phase. If before 2007, 8, 9, everybody wanted a financial capital in order to develop both the country or the region or the city, I don't know, depends by the promoter. Today, or after the crisis, the new world after the crisis will be interested not only on financial capital, but in developing human capital. If before the crisis we were talking about the global competitiveness, having in consideration, first of all, productivity, economic productivity, after the crisis, we are very much interested to have a competitive society, or we'll talk about competitiveness of societies. And in this context, we are facing this issue of nation branding and of globalization. Why I did mention that it's so important today, the human capital? Because according with the new status of international area, there are many ideas, many initiatives coming from different parts of the world, and they are operating in different areas. They wanted to be put in practice by different actors, not by original actors. Why? Because this flow of information, flow of opinion, and of communication, and not only communication. In this context, we are talking about creative industries. In this context, we are talking about doing your job, not at the office, in the institution, but at home. Last week, one of my students in international relations and cultural diplomacy asked me, "Professor, I would like to negotiate something." Yes, of course. How we can start our classes a little bit late, not at 8 in the morning? I said, look, unfortunately, this topic is non-negotiable, but I can tell you something. According with our schedule, we have to learn about electronic negotiation. I promise you that when we'll schedule electronic negotiation, you'll stay at home until 10, and you'll be, of course, you have to wake up, and you'll be at your computer and will work. But not from the university, sorry, Rector, but from your, desk in your home. It's a different world now, and in this context, innovation, creativity are the most important, engine of both development and of competitiveness. And I'm sure that in the coming years, the key word, both of international policy and the local or country policy, will be competitiveness. And of course, competitiveness deals first of all with globalization. Okay, and I took the role of moderator, and I'm opening now the floor for questions addressed to Professor Prof.
No.
Please. Yeah.
Thank you. Hilda Schweiger, PhD student, originally from Zambia, but based in Germany. I am a student attached with the University of Bucharest, Romania, but I have a query for you. Why should I study in Romania? Or isn't it better for me to study in England, maybe with the University of Lancaster or something? Because not many people know Romania, and I'm a bit worried that when I graduate, when they look at my degree, maybe they might pick somebody else over me. What is your comment on this, sir? Thank you.
Professor Pop?
Due to the situation that Romania is not so well known, my first argument is that in Romania it's twice less expensive than in England to study, for example. Speaking about prices, about fees, about, for example, finding a good how to say, home to live or things like that. On the other hand, we started 10 or 15 years ago to adjust our education to European education. Everything is adapt to Bologna program. We are recognizing now completely all over Europe credits, so you can study without any fear because your studies will be recognized at least in the framework of European Union. I have to tell you that in spite of some bad brands of Romania, around 10% of medical doctors working in France were educated in Romanian universities. And they are very good in France because they are on one hand, they are very good professionals, and on the other hand, they are able to speak a very good French because Romania was a unique country in the area having a French tradition, let's say, and my generation, for example, studied French as a first foreign language, not English. So there are many advantages to study. Naturally, it's possible to study, for example, a wrong discipline or something which is not very well sold on European market. But in some disciplines, it's easy and important to study. And I'll give you an example from our university. For example, a young IT specialist who studied IT in a high school before coming at the university in German, it's able to continue in German completely the whole education and to work, for example, for Porsche or Siemens in Germany or in the German-speaking company. It is only one example of adapting globalization to European identity or European nation branding, and in Europe, Germany, it's a kind of engine, you know, very well. So it's possible to find in Romania opportunities difficult to be found in another coin of Europe.
Yes, of course, and another reason is that you can learn from Professor Pop a lot. But
about Middle Ages,
I will say that the diploma, as Professor Pop mentioned, is recognized with the European Union, and there is a danger that of the exit of UK from EU, and that's why I not recommend you to there. But talking about the University of Cluj in this case, it's truly very important from the point of view of interconnectedness. Our university, University of Cluj, perhaps is a unique one in Europe, because we teach in Romanian language, in German language, and Hungarian languages. These are three official languages.
And
but
in English, a lot of programs in English,
but
completely.
we developed a lot of programs in English and French. I'll give you an example. We have within our Faculty of International Relations and European Studies, I think 130 foreign students. You know why? Because we teach in English and in German. And people want to be trained not only in one area or one domain, but they have to practice and, you know, 2 or 3 foreign languages, because what does mean having the access to foreign languages? First of all, means having very, very good access to the market. And this is truly very, very important for graduate.
But I forgot to tell you that for cultural diplomacy, it's very important to know that in our university are functioning 21 cultural foreign institutes, starting with British Council, Cervantes, Confucius, and finishing with Brazilian Cultural Center, Armenian Cultural Center, Turkish and general, speaking about Turkish people, Cultural Center.
And a branch
Indian
of Institute for Cultural Diplomacy.
And an Institute for Cultural Diplomacy. So it's easy to do cultural diplomacy directly, speaking with natives. L'Institut français est présent partout. Alors, all these kind of cultural institutes are cultivating language and traditions. Last year we opened the first Institute for African Studies with the help of the University of Dakar, a French pattern institute for the the French Africa. So there are a lot of opportunity to know and to study in one place in Europe a lot of traditions, customs, and languages.
Another question for Professor Prof?
No.
It's only, okay.
It is going back to globalization. I'm very sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, globalization is all about interconnectedness. It is reality, whether we take it or we leave it. But link the globalization with the nation building. I was thinking that when you said it's not about reputation. Yes, it is not about reputation. But do we really make it? Do we really develop the nation branding? Because which come from my own experience from my country, that we did not develop this reputation of a terrorist state or the terrorism. But unfortunately for the last 12 years, we are not able to get out of this image and this reputation, I would say a bad image or a kind of internationally given image, despite all efforts being done by that state as a main ally of the US as well. So I think it's by compulsion sometimes, it's not by choice, and it happened, and then you have to take, and I don't know how to actually rebuild that image. That is a real challenge.
Yeah, I have to repeat again that you know, developing nation branding is, from my point of view, absolutely necessary both for the country and for companies, as I did mention the case of South Korea. Why? Because you have to introduce yourself. You have to present your, let's say, offer both on the market, but not only on, as I did mention, economic and financial market. Let's talk about cultural market. Let's talk about political market in the same time. Because in my presentation, I told you that nation branding doesn't mean only reputation. For developing a nation branding today is necessary to add cultural issues, but in the same time, or economic issues, market issues, but in the same time, political, financial, many others. Why? Because there are different sensitive approaches of perceptions of the identity or of reputation or of nation brand. That's why, exactly, that's why the current concept of nation branding is very comprehensive now and is very oriented from the point of view of communications towards, you know, a region or an international organization or other issues. And not only nation branding is important today. I was truly very impressed how this you know, so-called 300 towns associations is able to promote commercial interest via cultural and political tools ways, yeah. And is we are living in this very globalized world, as I told you. We like it or we don't like it. I think that from the point of view of the decision makers, or from the point of view of the local perception, it's better to take the reality and to manage this reality in line with your interests. If you are only opposite to the reality, of course you choose the type of conflict interaction. It's your decision to do it.
But to fight against stereotypes, it's very difficult,
Yeah.
you know. And this way of thinking thinks according to some old realities, which are not valid anymore, still exists, and it's difficult to do it. You need to find new possibilities, and this is very expensive to do it. You need a lot of money to promote a real image. To lie, it's easier. I mean, to lie, it's easier to do it, but to promote a real image, it's always very difficult to do it. And you are right, the war stopped a long time ago, but in spite of that, people used to think in the same terms as it was accustomed to do it long time ago.
Please.
Okay. Now, I think we actually need to conclude. Unfortunately, the Minister of Malta has just arrived. Final question? Final question? Where was the hand?